Hello, so I feel like talking about red velvet cake instead of Thanksgiving, because why not? Anyway, so let's talk about red velvet's history. So, already starting off, we have no clue where red velvet was invented. We just kind of know the general time frame, which was the early 19th century. So that narrows it down to 100 years. Great. Anyway, as most of you may know, red velvet is just chocolate with some extra ingredients to make the batter red. And apparently, if you added some white sugar that was refined, you would get a vaguely reddish tint to the cake batter. And one of the first recipes, if not the first recipe, said that if you combine raw cocoa powder and buttermilk, it will turn a nice shade of burgundy, which up until 5 minutes ago, I thought was a shade of blue. And that little part of the recipe was discovered in the 19th century, so still the 1800s. Now, in the 20th century, or the 1900s, it was reported that someone had thought of velvet cocoa powder for red velvet cakes. And this originated when someone was mixing together a mahogany cake, I'm doing air quotes by the way, and devil's food cake. I don't know what a mahogany cake is. If you want to let me know in the comments. Now, during World War I and the Great Depression, people decided to try mixing beetroots with the cake mix to make a more red velvet cake. And that kind of worked, because beetroots are usually very red. Around the time of the 1920s, a red velvet layer cake became famous in the New York City... Oh, I'm not even going to pronounce that name. It's up on screen for you to read. And this was reported by John Harrison and John Doherty, the authors of the Hotel's Cookbook. Again, the name will be on screen, because I ain't going to try and pronounce that. Now, when colored food dyes were developed in the 1930s, the manufacturers made some recipes that would help enhance the natural color of food. Now, all of this was before the FDA decided artificial food colorings are bad. Just kidding. In the US, they haven't decided that, and we're still using them to this day. Yay for Red 40, it's my favorite drink. Also, if you couldn't tell, that was sarcasm. Please do not drink Red 40. Now back to red velvet cake. One of those recipes for the food coloring was developed during World War II by Adam Extract and used as the Waldorf Astoria Hotel's cake recipe. Yes, I tried saying it. You can let me know how bad I pronounced it in the comments. And that was the recipe the hotel had gone with and just kind of popularized across the country. And by the end of the 60s and into the early 70s, the cake recipe for red velvet was appearing in newspapers and cookbooks across the country. But after it was found out that red dye number 2 was linked to cancer, people kind of fell out of favor with red velvet, until the movie Steel Magnolias in 1989 repopularized it. Because the red velvet cake was featured in one scene or something, I guess. Oh, and I didn't mention this earlier because Wikipedia just kinda has it to the end, but Canada popularized red velvet cake in the 40s and 50s. So yeah, that's it. I really have no more information on if they stopped eating it as much because of the cancerous red dye, but whatever. And that's the history of red velvet cake. Stay golden.